Assalamualaikum. Can everyone hear me? Heather, if you could confirm I'm audible.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is 𝑑𝒍𝒂𝒍 and I am National Exchange Officer at Pakistan Association of Dental Students and your host for today's webinar.
Please confirm if I'm audible. Hello. Assalamualaikum. I hope I'm audible. Ursula, if you can confirm.
Yes, it is audible.
It is audible. It is audible. It is audible. It is audible. It is audible.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to everyone here. I think we have the majority participants with us now, and we would like to start. Before we begin, I would like to introduce to all of you myself as host for today along with Ursula. I am Anika Aslam, President of Pakistan Association of Dental Students and your host for today. Ursula, if you could introduce yourself.
I am 𝑑𝒍𝒂𝒍, National Exchange Officer at Pakistan Association of Dental Students and your host for today's webinar. First of all, we will start with the recitation of the Holy Quran.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الرحمن علم القرآن خلق الإنسان علمه البيان الشمس والقمر بحسبان والنجم والشجر يسجدان والسماء رفعها ووضع الميزان ألا تطغوا في الميزان وأقيموا الوزن بالقسط ولا تخسروا الميزان والأرض وضعها للأنام فيها فاكهة والنخل ذات الأكمام والحب ذو العصف والريحان فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان خلق الإنسان من صلصال كالفخار وخلق الجان من مارج من نار
Hello everyone and welcome to the theme of the event, Empowering the Future of Dentistry. All the topics for the session will be aimed at empowering you, irrespective of your year of study or even if you have graduated.
The topics we are going to cover in the whole of our event will be dental career planning, dental photography basics, marketing and communication, how to write your CV or give interviews. There are a few instructions that you need to follow. Write your full names, keep your microphone and video off during the session, stay interactive during the webinar through polls and chat questions, and you can share your questions in the chat section. We will be monitoring it. Pakistan Association of Dental Students is a non-profit organization that is a full country member of the International Association of Dental Students. Our vision is that all the dental students of Pakistan come together to explore and realize to the full potential the world of dentistry, both nationally and internationally. Become the custodian of perseverance, valor, vision, sacrifice, trust, teamwork, creativity, and professionalism. To learn and advocate community service, oral health, scientific knowledge, and clinical skills, creating opportunities for themselves and others, eventually emerging as leaders who globally inspire the future of dentistry and selfless service through all their achievements.
C.I.D.E and P.A.D.S are pleased to announce collaboration to open doors to exposure to international dentistry. The single most driver behind the establishment of the C.I.D.E is integration and its importance in dentistry. Integration important at various levels, including but not limited to internationally trained dentists migrating to North America to settle and integrate into the profession and society here, as well as addressing the various internal departments of dentistry like hygiene, admin, management, assisting, etc. C.I.D.E is a place to share learning and experience to help professionals save time, money, effort, and energy in a congenial and professional environment. Programs include preparation for theory and clinical tests administered by boards and universities for advanced placement DDS programs across North America.
As a pre-webinar activity, we assign all of you to share with us by writing on a piece of paper your favorite subject or area, which I'm now going to screen share with all of you so that we can have a look at what different things everyone shared. This was just a pre-webinar activity to help you guys. The only aim was to help you guys sit and think about it for a while, whether or not you're sure about what you're going to pursue, or if you don't have any idea at all, to give you a chance and look for the different options that are out there. We really hope that the aim was successful of this pre-webinar activity, and you were able to sit down and think before attending this session. Without further ado, would like you to introduce to our speaker today, Dr. Abbas Naqvi. Dr. Abbas Naqvi is a diverse dental professional. His experience and education in dentistry, media and marketing, wrapped in a passion for integration-driven education, have made him into a multivalent resource for dental professionals and organizations. As the ever-helping developer of C.I.D.E and C-Factor, and having a diverse experience of about 18 years in the profession, he is a reputed and reliable source for young and seasoned professionals alike. Thank you so much for being with us today, sir.
Shall we begin? Are we waiting for something? Are we okay to start, or are we waiting for something?
No, sir. So you can start.
So I can start?
Yes, sir. You can screen share.
Thank you so much. All right. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, sir.
And
it's visible.
can you hear me?
Yes,
All
sir.
clear? Everything is good? Perfect. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Arshad. I think from the time that I came across the Pakistan Association of Dental Students, I think I had a very positive feeling about this development, because it's a very important, much needed uh, step that Pakistan students they need, and that is why I reached out to them. I said hello, I congratulated them on this initiative, and I offered them my help and support in anything and everything that I can do for to help this organization achieve its objectives, which are very meaningful and much needed at this point in time. I know we are behind by approximately 25 minutes, so I will try to do justice to this session, but at the same time try to keep within the time limits that we have. The reason why we put this together was, of course, over the years we've seen how the dental profession has evolved. There are dynamics within the profession. Some are within our control, some are not in our control. So let's see what we can do, and then also add a North American or international perspective to this, because many young graduates are thinking on those lines as well. So we will try to do that as well. So once again, I would like to congratulate Anika and Arshal and the whole Pakistan Association of Dental Students team. I see those videos, the activity is amazing, it's wonderful, it is definitely worth appreciation and applaud. So good job, guys, and we hope that you will keep moving forward like this, and we will at C.I.D.E we will and try whatever helpful action we can do to make this happen for you. So let me just adjust my windows. so I can see everything clearly. Right. So just an overview of the session. We'll have a brief introduction of myself, talk about a bit about dentistry, which is an art, a skill, science, which needs knowledge, and business, which needs an approach. So the art part of dentistry needs skill, science part needs knowledge, and the business part needs a certain approach towards it. Contextualizing Canada, something about Canada and how the processes are here and how to approach them, how dentistry. This you can consider as an example. It's not to encourage or say that you guys need to leave your country and migrate. But this is to also to give you an example of how things are structured in other parts of the world. So look at it from that perspective as well, and then what programs do we have, and what do you need to do if you need any help on that. So my name is Dr. Abbas Naqvi. I'm the director here at C.I.D.E, and I'm the director at C-Factor, which is a digital media and marketing company. I did my graduation from Fatima Jinnah Dental College, Karachi in 2002. And immediately after finishing my house job in 2003, I started working in two places. In fact, even before I was offered a position of a demonstrator in Fatima Jinnah, I had already started working for Dental News as a correspondent, and that was my first official job. So in addition, then I started working as a demonstrator in Fatima Jinnah. Then I moved on to Al-Tamash. I started working in the clinics and the management side of things at Al-Tamash Institute. I think I worked for a year and a half over there. On the side, I continued my association with Dental News, which eventually spanned about 4 years. Initially, a casual relationship, then a part-time, and then for the last 2 years, full-time editor. And then I moved on to 3M and worked there for 5 years as a scientific marketer. So that's how I diversified. And all this time I was working in clinical practice as a part-time practitioner. I did not discontinue my practice completely. I kept doing it. So at any given time, I was working for the first 4 years of my career at least 3 places, which was Al-Tamash in the morning, Dental News in the afternoon, and then the clinic in the evening. And then later on, 2 places because it was full-time Dental News and the clinic. Then it was 3M and the clinic. So it was always a few different things. So that's how my interest in media and marketing, interest and experience developed. And plus the education side, because at 3M we were looking at the continuing education as well. So how do these things interconnect and intertwine with each other? That's how that side of me developed. So now when I look at it, alhamdulillah, I can say I have 18 years in dental media and marketing, continuing education and communication experience. And as I told you, that's how I got here. I moved to Canada in 2012. And I initially started some work in a dental software company in marketing, and then I established my own dental media and marketing company. We now in 2017 we started this training center. During this time, my wife, who is also a dentist, she wrote her licensing exams, and she completed that process in 2018, and she has been practicing since then. Here's a question for you on your screen. I'll take a pause and allow you to answer this. Have you planned your career path? I know my options and I have decided on a plan, which is amazing. I know my options, but I'm undecided on a plan. I don't know my options and I'm undecided on a plan. I think the right word for the second option should be, I think I know my plan. I think I know my options. All right. So, yeah, as I said, I think the correct wording should be, I think I know my options, but I'm undecided on a plan. Anyways, it's good to know where you guys are. Nazia raised a hand. Yes, Nazia? Nazia, you can unmute your mic and ask a question.
She did it by mistake. She wrote in chat.
Yeah, and I think people are answering in the chat box. Guys, you didn't need to answer in the chat box. You just need to click on the survey. That's all. You don't have to type it in the chat box. Khurram, Said, Zarak, and Arbab, you just select on the poll. You don't have to type on the chat. So anyways, 60% people think that they know their options but are undecided on a plan, and about 25% don't know the options and are undecided as well. So those are the groups that we are going to address. Moving forward, I'll tell you a bit about C.I.D.E. that was established in 2017. Our focus is integrating professionals into, obviously with a priority on the Canadian professional side. We offer counseling, we educating them for their licensing exams, which are board exams, which could be AFK, ACJ, OSCE, written, INBDE, and other continuing education programs. We offer training, which is clinical skills training for board exams and university admissions. Remember, dentistry is a skill-based profession, so no matter how knowledgeable you are up here, at the end of the day, when it comes to practicing dentistry, it is your skill and it's your handwork that needs to be polished and which needs to shine and stand out. And we offer mentoring, which is post-equivalency process. Once you've licensed, shadowing, and other opportunities for people to participate and mature their position in the profession. We have a wide range of instructors for every program. And these are extremely capable, well-educated instructors, and we have a great team that on a day-to-day basis helps the foreign trained dentists achieve, move towards and achieve their dreams in North American dentistry. This is what our location looks like. It's a schematic diagram, obviously. I am right now sitting here, if you can see, in this office, right on this table and on this chair. So we have a main training room with 20 workstations, which are fully equipped for all of our spread of work, and then another training room with 16 workstations, and then a room with 6 dental chairs. So that's our layout of the facility. We're based in Mississauga, Ontario. This is our main training room during one of its sessions. This is the clinical room. So let's refresh the premise. What we're talking about here is that you don't know what you don't know. And life is understood looking backwards, but lived forward. So you always learn lessons from maybe someone who has been through that situation already. That's a good perspective to listen to and understand. And learning from those experiences, you live life forward, which is plan and execute it accordingly. Now, when we talk about those things, a very important element that comes into place, perspective. Perspective versus fact versus context. Sometimes we have this argument that, you know, to one person it's a 9, to the other person it's a 6. It's a matter of perspective. But who would know what this really is? Probably is the one who wrote the number. So they would know the fact and they would know the context as well. And how can we achieve this? By adding something, some piece of information to this that can tell you the fact and put the thing into the right context so that the perspective can be addressed. Perspectives may seem right, but they are not always right. You may feel that your perspective is accurate, but that is when this piece of information, the line, is missing. Up till that point, the perspective debate continues. But once you put this line here, then it puts an end to the perspective debate, and now this becomes a fact, okay? Or that it has the right context. So that is very important. So let's talk about the art, sciences, business, or dentistry. So this is now a good time in your careers to understand that there are these three major components of dentistry, which is the art of dentistry, the science of dentistry, and the business of dentistry. When you talk about the art of dentistry, that's where the practice, the skills, and the handwork, those things come in. You have to be able to do what needs to be done. In the science component, you have to have the sound knowledge of the principles, the materials, the techniques. You have to know to be able to do. But it's different. Knowing is different from doing. One of my concerns with our education system is that it's a bit too theory heavy, and it's less skill heavy. So we need to focus more on skill development, and that needs a lot of practice. That needs some intense training, and our curriculums, our education system seems to be missing that intense training part. So we do reasonably well on the science part, on the knowledge part, and I think we educate our people nicely as far as the talking or knowing part is concerned, but we need to focus more on the skill side. And the third thing that is completely missing from our scenario is how to approach the profession. You have to recognize that the profession you've entered is basically a business. It is basically a business. It is basically a business. I'm saying this 3 times so that it goes right across from here to you. You are in a business, okay? Yes, we are doctors. Yes, we are healthcare professionals, but we have to understand that this is a business. Recently, I saw a video by Professor Javed Iqbal. He was talking about dentistry careers. It was a short video, but it's a very true video. Everyone must watch it. I will try and see if I can find it, but if some of you can find it and share it on the P.A.D.S page or your email lists, however, it will be amazing. Where he talks about the one key message that if you guys are trying to search for the scope of dentistry in government jobs, then you're searching in the wrong place. You will never find it, okay? So you have to create your own scope. You have to create your own scope in this business. So keep that in mind. Because we are short on time, I'm using my words, my sentences very carefully. So please make a note of everything that I'm saying is I'm trying to make it as meaningful as possible. So this third component, the business approach is really missing, and we need to educate ourselves. So since the system is missing, we have to do this ourselves. And I think P.A.D.S is a great platform to do that. Now, after basic education, now that you've acquired or you have finished or you are about to complete or your basic dental education, you have to do 2 things. You review your aptitude and review your options. Aptitude means, do you really want to do this? And options are what really options? What real options, like could be local, could be international, could be academic, could be on specialization side, or you want to diversify into something else and you want to add another tier another skill set, another layer of knowledge, and other things to your career. This is when you need to really stop and think and evaluate that. What I mean by that is you need to understand that you are not locked or married to your initial education. If you've done dentistry, P.A.D.S, it could be out of preference. You wanted to be a dentist. It could be out of a forced situation. Your family, friend, someone forced you into it. Or you were forced by circumstances, you couldn't get admission into medical school, and then you said, okay, my second best choice is dentistry. For me, it was my first choice, and I did it by choice. And I still love the profession, okay? So I did not diversify, or I was not forced into diversification due to circumstances. I did all that by choice. But you have to understand that you're not locked or married. You can still change your position if you want. Education is to help you become the version of yourself that you want, not to determine or dictate it. You should not be forced कि अब dentistry कर ली है तो फिर dentistry पढ़ लिया तो फिर dentistry ही करनी. अगर अच्छी नहीं लगती, if you don't feel like doing it, if you see problems in it, you don't want to do it, then don't do it. Okay? Don't get yourself stuck deeper into a problem where your heart is not with you. However, if you feel like a business person trapped inside a dentist's body, then trust me, you're in the right place. Right? But if you feel like a chef trapped in a dentist's body, that's a different case. But if you feel it more inclined towards business, then it's really nice, because dentistry is a business and you will definitely do well. Acquire new skills, for sure. Things are popping up on my screen because I've been made the co-host, and now it's blocking my video. So it's important to acquire new skills in addition to dentistry, which are important for you to be a successful dentist. Most importantly, business skills, management skills, human resource, finance, marketing. You need to know the basics of these to be able to successfully run a dental business. Now, what could be the possible areas of options? I'm starting with a very interesting one, non-dental. So I'm trying to address those people who really don't feel comfortable in dentistry. Then we talk about clinical, academic, then non-clinical in terms of diversification, and any combination of the middle three. So non-dental could be pharmaceutical, which is primarily sales and management. And then you could venture off into another business. A lot of people that I know who were with me in dental school, some of them went into banking, some of them went into pharmaceuticals, some of them went into family businesses, and they didn't really continue dentistry. So that is an option too. When you talk about clinical dentistry, your first option is to start working as an associate. And I'm not going into the details of the fact that what is the salary, what are the pay scales. That's beyond the scope of this particular conversation. So you could start to associate at a clinic, and after a while, you could grow yourself to be an owner and have a new set up a new practice. Or sometimes you might be able to buy the practice that you're associating at. Second option, if you have the resources, you could start off by starting your own practice. That's an option. Or a combination. You're working part-time as an associate in one clinic, 3 days, and the other 3 days you're investing in building your own clinic and your own practice. So those are the 3 basic ways of approaching that situation. Next is academic options where you have to evaluate where you want to get into research or clinical specialization. Now, some of the systems in Pakistan are really unusual. Like previously, we never used to have the master's programs, the MBS programs. They were not available, but as the universities started opening up and the master's programs, MBS and MSc programs are not now available, which is really nice. It's a good option to get into. But you have to see your inclination. If you are more inclined towards becoming a successful clinician, you don't have to look towards specialization or research. It is not for everyone. Please make sure that you understand the specialization and postgraduate education is not for everyone. And you should not feel compelled to be pushed into it if you don't feel like it. Or if, as I said, if you want to specialize, you want to be a successful general practitioner, which is a perfect thing to do, there's nothing wrong with it. Don't feel compelled to go towards academic specialization and research. Faculty positions, they do look interesting and charming, but the 4 to 5 years that you will spend getting to that point, you could have done a lot better for yourself if you invested that time and energy in setting up a practice. That is definitely something that you need to be aware of. Don't just do specialization for the sake of doing specialization, just because everyone is doing it, just because everyone is saying that you should do it. No, it's not necessary. Look at whether you want to do a clinical specialization or research-based. That depends on the opportunities and your aptitude. The non-clinical diversification, by default, the first thing is business and management, because it directly relates to your profession. Keep in mind, I will say this again, business and management education directly relates to your profession. It is directly related to dentistry. It's not indirectly, it's directly related, because when you're going to run your business, your clinic, your practice, you will need this information. When you meet people who want to be mentored, who want to be educated, who want to be groomed into becoming successful dental professionals, business and management education and orientation is a must for them. And then at the end of the day, you can be any combination of these things. And I know people who are, you have your own clinic as well, and you are a postgraduate student as well, and you're doing your MBA also. So if you can afford, if life can permit you to do that, you can do everything. Just make sure you're making the right choice based on your aptitude and attitude. When it comes to international locations and the international scenario, the professions in different countries are structured differently. For example, in the UK dentistries, NHS has a big role to play in dentistry in UK. In Canada, dentistry is almost 95% private. So there's countries do their stuff differently. Popular destinations like Middle East people usually get educated in Pakistan and then they go to Middle East for employment purposes. They don't usually go to Middle East for education purposes. So they get educated, and then they look for either teaching jobs or clinical jobs in Middle East. And obviously these are expatriate oriented countries. You don't become a resident, you don't get immigration. You just go there, work for a certain number of years. Either you come back to your country or you move further outward from there on. When it comes to New Zealand, Australia, North America, and Europe, generally people go there to study as well. But at the same time, people migrate also. So what this means is, how are these different from the Middle East option? That generally speaking, Middle East options are intermediate term options. When we talk about short term, intermediate term, and long term, the Middle East options usually are intermediate term. At the end of the day, you will retire, you will probably have to relocate back to your country or move somewhere else. New Zealand's immigration-oriented approaches are long-term. So once you decide to move to US, Canada, change your continent, you will probably be there for a long time. So then that's why people go there both for study plus immigration reasons. And then they have to look at how the profession is structured over there and follow accordingly. Like for example, something which is common for Middle East and the rest of the world are licensing exams. You write the ministry exam, you write the board exam, and you can enter clinical practice directly. More towards the North American or Europe side, you go there for postgraduate study. And through that postgraduate study or specialization, you acquire a license to practice. Then there are places where you cannot acquire a license to practice through postgraduate studies. So postgraduate study leads you to a career in academics. And then there are non-clinical careers, including industry. I see many young dentists now venturing into dental trade. Many young dentists having training centers. Those are good developments. And then, especially when you are in a new continent and there is no way to directly absorb you into the system, and in most cases there are, but as a temporary measure, you may need an alternate career. Temporary, or for some people, even permanent, which could be C.I.D.E, which is Certified Dental Assistant, R.D.H, Registered Dental Hygienist, C.D.T, Certified Dental Technician, denturists, office admin, and office management positions. These are all alternates that are available within dentistry in other parts of the world, not as much in Pakistan. And this is not necessarily a step up or a step down. This is probably just a step aside. You're leveraging off of a different role in the practice, and you're gaining more experience and knowledge in those areas, right? And so that's how, at least as far as North America is concerned, that's how it works. So PG or no PG, that is the question you need to ask. Okay. So we will not answer that question for you. You need to ask yourself this question, and you need to answer it and plan and execute your plan accordingly. So just a few things about Canada. Most importantly, as I spoke earlier, context is very important. You need to, when you're researching about a new place, understanding the dynamics of that place is important, and why it is the way it is important. Sometimes we try to just compare or understand a different place from what we know about our place. So many things are not directly applicable in the new environment. So you have to understand the new environment from their perspective, from their reality, not from your perspective and your background knowledge. Which is why when you read things on the internet, sometimes you don't seem to catch the truth or the reality. The information is there, but you don't know the context. I'll give you a small example. When I'm a self-taught photographer. So when I started learning photography, I used to read a term in the photography books. The term was golden hour. The term was golden hour. And that term described the evening twilight time and referred to it as the best time for portrait photography. Now, living in Pakistan, living in Karachi, I would usually go out in the late afternoon, late Asr and Maghrib time. And I would see that the light disappears like this, like in 10 to 15 minutes, it's dark. And I would say, like, why do these books say that this time is the golden hour? It's not an hour, it's just 15 minutes. It's 10 minutes, it's 15 minutes. It just gets dark so quickly. But when I moved to Canada, and remember, all these books were written by North American people, I noticed that time of light stays here for an hour. So I understood that only when I came, I understood that, okay, here it is that my thinking was not straight. It was not accurate. And then obviously when you migrate, there are migraines that are associated with migration. So we'll talk a bit about that. So understanding different places, we need to know how this world works. When we talk about a new country, a different country, we talk about how big it is, and then we talk about how many people live, how big it is in terms of size, how big it is in terms of population, how big it is in terms of economy. So when you talk about economy, physical size, Russia is big, Canada is the second biggest country of the world, China, US, Brazil, these are large countries, physically large countries. So Canada happens to be second on that physically large country list. But when it comes to population, I want to give you a short test. What's the thing that stands out in the population column, the row that I just showed you? Okay. So tell me, what stands out in the population information that you have?
So you're asking what stands out?
What information stands out in this?
The largest population in case of?
Look very closely. Something that is unique in this set of information.
Karachi.
Yes, Hamza Faisal got it right. Hamza Faisal said, cities are compared to countries. So Canada is a country and we are comparing it to cities. Yes, yeah. So Maya is right. So what I'm trying to demonstrate here is the size when it comes to the meaningfulness of size in terms of population, not in terms of size, in terms of population. So in terms of population, Canada is like a city. You get my point? Canada, in terms of population, is like a city in Asia or South Asia. You put two cities together, that's the whole country. Let that sink in. Try to understand what I'm trying to say here. That you're moving to a country which is the size, not physical size, population size of two cities. So how is that relevant? It's relevant because it explains that it indicates the opportunity. So the country that you and I originally belong to, come from, has so much more opportunity than Canada. Canada is like Karachi plus Lahore. That is Canada in terms of population. Okay? It's geographically huge and there's other things that are different, but population-wise, it's very small. Plus, to add to that size, you have people who are the best of the best from all over the world coming into this one small place. That's why the competition is tough. Aliza Armin has raised a hand. Do you have a question, Aliza? Okay. So that's what I'm trying to say here. And economically, US is the biggest economy. No, China, US and China, biggest economies of the world. Japan is a big economy. And Canada is the ninth. So take a look at another trend over here and try to understand this. That US, China are physically large, they have large populations, and they have a large economy. So they're also India. Physically large, large population, large economy. So things make sense, right? But what about the rest of the countries that are not large in terms of population, but are large in terms of economy, which means they are doing their things right? UK, France, Italy, Japan, these are not big countries, but they are advanced countries. So Canada is a small country in terms of population too, right? So they are investing in themselves and they are doing their things right and growing into better economies. We are fifth on the world population. We are about in the 30s in the size, and we are about in the late 30s in economy. So we really have to look at this fact that what are we doing in terms of managing our resources. Canadian Dentistry is a family of about 100,000 people, which includes dentists, about 25% of it, hygienists, we have assistants, and we have other roles. And what are these other roles? I get asked this very often. What other roles are there? Dentists, dental hygienists, dental assistants, treatment coordinators, office administration, office managers, denturists, dental technicians, dental sales and marketing, public health consultants, coaches, mentors. There is so much going on in dentistry. Dentist is only one role for the 11 roles. So much going on in dentistry, which is not, these people are not dentists, okay, but they're still doing well in their professions. So you have to understand that look at dentistry as a profession, not just from a dentist perspective. In Canada, it's a $14 billion industry. It's largely privately funded, as I said earlier. It's largely insurance-based, about 14,000 practices all across the country, per patient value of about nearly $400. It's a strictly regulated profession. About 15% of people have compromised access to care, which means about 85% people have good access to care. The average salary is good, but depends on many variables. The type of clinic that you're working at, the type of patients you're seeing at that clinic, the number of days and the number of hours that you're working. The average salary is about $100,000 to $130,000. In considering that the licensing process costs $50,000, you will easily recover this cost in the first year of your practice. So for those who think that the cost is overwhelming, it's just an investment over a period of 1 to 2 years that you will recover in just your first year of practice. Here's how you need to approach your plan as far as Canada is concerned. You could go into clinical practice first. If you choose to go into clinical practice, that's the first choice, whether you will go into clinical practice or you will go into an allied career for the rest of your life. If you, in either case, you can go into a temporary allied career and then later on make it permanent, or just use it as a path to get into clinical practice. If you've chosen clinical practice, you have two paths. You do licensing exams or you go for schooling. If you go for licensing exams, you will have two paths. The equivalency process, which is the path to get the equivalency process, the path to get your general practice license. And then there is a theoretical way called Dental Specialty Core Knowledge Exam and Dental Specialty Training Program. This is for specialists, but it's not a practical way. So those specialists who are looking to become specialists in Canada, this is a theoretical way to do that, but really you have to do this first. There's no practical or reasonable way to become directly a specialist in Canada. You have to go through this equivalency process, acquire your local license, and then you can find a way to pursue your specialty. When you go through schooling, you have to take the first exam of the equivalency process and then go into advanced placement 𝑷.𝑨. Here it is. So AFK is a part of the equivalency process. You do this exam and then you seek admission into just advanced placement program, and then this also leads you to general practice. Or you come either as an international student or as a local, you get admission into a master's, which may lead to PhD, which may lead to specialization. Versions of it. Here is the end result. If you go through equivalency process, you become a general practitioner, but you can, if you're already a specialist, you can choose to limit your scope of practice, just your specialty, and call a general practitioner. And if you are able to do this, which is again unrealistic, limited opportunity, theoretical option to get into specialist practice. Once you get into the schooling pathway after AFK and the IDAP program, you also become a general practitioner. So number 1 over here and number 3 are basically the same results. Okay, you're categorized in the same category. With MSc, you can just get into a teaching role, not very exciting from a career perspective, but very important from a path perspective. You can use this path to either go into a PhD program or get admission into the IDAP. So there's cross leverage. So MSc itself as a destination is not a good choice, but as a path, it's a very good choice. MSc to PhD, which is industry or academia or research, or MSc PhD leading to specialization, and then you have more doors open, industry, academia, research, or practice, right? Because you cannot practice if you are not a clinical specialist here in Canada. So here are some, now we will talk about some of the allied careers, which non-dentist careers, and what type of education is generally involved. And in some cases, you may not need any formal education. So certified dental assistant can be done directly, but there's level 1 you can do without any formal certification, just a radiology certification called HARP is required. But level 2, which is intraoral, you need to be certified for it. The third part of every option that I will discuss at the end. The third part. You see, the first part is what role, the second part is what education, and the third part is how it helps.